Alright, so I apologize for the angle of this video, but here's a personal pet peeve rant. As you can see from my face, I look like hell on earth because I have an acute case of sinusitis. Now, when I woke up, blatantly symptomatic, at 2 a.m. Sunday morning, I said, this is only going to get worse. I have to call the urgent care and I have to go in and be seen. And I did. And I was. And God help me if I didn't already have an appointment with my primary care provider for Tuesday morning anyway. I don't know that the doctor would have survived the visit, insofar as I would have yelled until her ears bled. This woman actually had the audacity to confirm my self-diagnosis. She looked me over, checked my throat, checked my heart rate, made sure my lungs were clear, didn't bother to check my actual sinuses for some reason, and then said to me, based on what you're telling me and based on what you're describing, it definitely sounds like sinusitis. She gave it some particular name, I assume the form of sinusitis she thought it was. And then, having confirmed my self-diagnosis, having as a medical professional confirmed my self-diagnosis, told me the following. Well, I understand antibiotics are usually what you get, but in our practice, we don't like to write things for people until you've been suffering for a period of time. And I said, I suppose I understand that because of the risk of drug resistance, but how long? Usually 10 to 14 days. I'm sorry, what? You expect me to feel like this for 2 weeks before you'll treat me? At the point I've been feeling like this for 3 days, which is what tomorrow will be, I am running on less than 3 hours of sleep in 3 days. Medical residents don't exist on 3 hours of sleep in 3 days. You know why? It's legally forbidden. It is unsafe. When you try to do things in life, like, I don't know, driving or surgery or some sort of medical practice, and you are running on a sleep-deprived state, you are a legitimate legal risk. You are a safety risk. I watch Mythbusters. It has been proven by them even that sleep deprivation is tantamount, if not worse, than driving drunk. Honest to God. And you are going to sit there and have the actual fucking audacity to look me in the face and say, well, you know, we don't treat people for 10 to 14 days. Woman, I have been up since 2 a.m. Sunday. It's 2:30 in the afternoon Monday. I'm telling you for a fact. I'm almost 34. I've had sinusitis like this once or twice a year, unfortunately some years 3, since I was 15. I know what the hell is going on with me. I know what the hell is going to treat it. And yes, I realize I sound like a squeaky Peter Brady bullfrog. It's part of the sinusitis. And you're going to tell me, honestly, that you're not going to treat me for 2 weeks? Followed by, and I swear to God, this is where she really fucking spit the bit. I mean, she just, like, took the entire fucking cake with this. She said to me, but on the plus side, you have an appointment with your doctor on Tuesday, so if it's really not better, she can always, you know, decide differently and choose to write you something. I was like, what the? Way to pass the buck! Way to fucking pass the buck! Are you kidding me? And I'll tell you something, you know, 2 young kids at home. All 4 of us are sick. Sick enough that Sam had to stay home today. Fortunately, he had yesterday off because I was trying to get a top-down clean done this weekend, half of which didn't get done because I'm fucking sick. Because everyone was sick. My 9-month-old has a nose that's trying to completely expel its contents all over her. My 2-year-old is coughing like it's a fashion statement. My 2-year-old was so uncomfortable yesterday. He asked to take Tylenol twice. Now, for those of you who may or may not be parents or familiar with trying to medicate young children, trying to give a syringe full of medication to a toddler is like trying to feed a live fish a piece of sushi. It ain't happening. It ain't happening. For my 2-year-old to come to me and insist on taking medication. Now, I admit, my son isn't verbal, so I kind of had to figure out what was going on with him. I tried to walk Rizzo yesterday morning, and he wouldn't let me go. He would not let me. He kept walking over to me and putting his arms up and wanting a hug and wanting a hug. And, you know, he's my son. My kids ask me for a hug, they're getting a hug. And finally I said to him, honey, why don't you want me to go out? What is so wrong? Do you still not feel well? And he nodded his head, yes. I said, oh, okay. Do you want mommy to give you your medicine? Would that help? And he said, yes. And he followed me into the bathroom where we keep the medicine safely secured, up out of arm's reach. And he saw me make the thing, and he stood still, and not in like one dose, but in 2 or 3 little shots in the back of the mouth and the cheek. He took the entire dose of Tylenol. That happened twice yesterday. And this woman is honestly, I told her about the Tylenol thing from the morning. The second time happened after the appointment. I told her about the Tylenol thing from the morning. I said, that's not right. That's not right. For a 2-year-old to ask for and take their medicine, you know they got to be feeling some kind of awful shitty. Awful, awful shitty. Imagine how I feel. Meanwhile, it's the next day. Sam was still not feeling great this morning, but I suggested to him what he should take based on what he told me his symptoms were. By the middle of the day, he said he was feeling practically fine, practically better. Whatever it was a 36-hour turnaround for him. Meanwhile, in 36 hours, I feel like death warmed over. And I'm ready to, like, fucking pop this doctor with a clipboard over her head. I got 2 hours of sleep last night. In no small part because my daughter was so uncomfortable that she couldn't stay asleep. And we kept having to get up and help her. So, you know, we barely slept. I slept less than he did. And I know that because of the number of times I had to shove him because he was snoring. And I have another night of not sleeping to look forward to before I have to take the car for inspection at 7:30 in the morning. Then go to the doctor's appointment at 10 in the morning. And then probably go home and get the kids and at some point, God willing, pick up a prescription for antibiotics from the pharmacy that she's going to call in for me. Because so help me God, there's no way you can hear me sounding like this. There's no way you can look at the internal situation that's got to be going on to cause this and tell me, no, you don't need antibiotics. The woman actually told me I should go to the pharmacy and get fluconase and saline. Now, the saline I kind of understand because part of it is dry sinuses. And yes, I realize I sound Peter Brady-ish again. Part of it is dry sinuses and dry throat, and I understand that. The saline I get. I try to keep it in the house. But the fucking fluconase I don't understand because it's a steroidal. It's an over-the-counter steroidal nasal spray that apparently now comes in 2 levels of steroid dosage, which is good. Because I have it clearly marked on my chart that I can't take NSAIDs. Now, NSAIDs are non-steroidals. But if it's a specific thing that steroidals are a factor, shouldn't you ask someone, are you okay taking a steroidal? Shouldn't you ask someone, do you have a problem taking steroids? That doesn't ask me anything about, I see on your chart here that you have a history of asthma. Doesn't ask me anything about whether or not steroidals are going to give me some sort of asthmatic problem or issue. Just take the steroidal thing and take the saline and you'll be fine. And if you're still suffering in 2 weeks, come back. In 2 weeks, I'm not going to be suffering. In 2 weeks after this, I'm going to be dead. If for no other reason than my day 4, I'm not going to have had a night's sleep in a week. My kids don't nap unless I drive them in the car. How the hell am I supposed to take them for a nap drive if I can't drive safely? Every time I try to walk out the door today to get anything done, I had to stop because I forgot 15 things because I'm running on entirely pain and no sleep. There's no amount of caffeine in the world I can take that's going to fix this. And worse than that, I can't have that much caffeine because I'm prone to tension headaches and migraine. The medication they give you for migraine, look at the bottles. Excedrin migraine contains caffeine. If you drink too much caffeine, you give yourself a headache and then you have to take something with caffeine in it to fix it? No wonder Excedrin hasn't worked for me in 2 months. Honestly, I realize this is a rant, and I'm sorry, and I know I'm not holding the phone in the right, proportion for landscape or whatever. But, I'm so upset. I'm so irate. I had to record something. Meanwhile, I'm at Target, and I'm going to look for... I apologize for the way the phone's moving. I'm going to look for something related to, like, neti pot or some other shit like that, because people have been recommending it to me for a while, and I don't like the idea, but, you know, 2 young kids, at this point, I have no fucking choice. I really have no fucking choice, and it's ridiculous that I can be put in a situation by a medical professional that forces me to go out twice and spend money on shit. I have health insurance for a reason. This is not the reason. So I'm going into Target now, and I'm going to post this when I get home and I'm on my Wi-Fi so I don't use up a shit ton of data. But you know, how do you call yourself a medical professional and do this to someone? Moreover, do this to someone at this time of year, with the holidays coming up, who has 2 young children at home, who told you repeatedly she has 2 young children. I hate people. Any people I didn't create and any people I didn't choose to be related to, I don't like. And apparently I have really good cause.